Hello class, Dr. Stutzman here. I hope all is well. We're getting close to the midway point of week 4. So I wanted to go through, as promised, the midterm and discuss a little bit about that. And then also talk about some possible adjustments that I'm going to work with you in, and to allow you to have a little bit more time with family and friends during this holiday season. So hopefully that's something to be thankful for. So let's get started with a little discussion on the midterm. So that there's some clarity there. I'll open that up. So obviously this is pretty clear cut, but the exam will have 20 questions and we'll cover the key aspects of chapters 1 through 6 of your textbook. Now some of you have hard copies of your textbook, others have electronic copies. If you have an electronic copy, make sure that there's a way that you can open that textbook while you're taking your exam. The reason that that's helpful is because this is open book, so you can have your textbook there physically in your hand or online. You can also be using any of the videos and notes that you've taken in the class for your exam. So this is not a very difficult exam. Ultimately, if you've read the chapters and have a good idea of where things can be found, you'll be in good shape. If this is the first time you're reading the material, which it would be surprising, but if it is, then you might struggle with the exam. So if you do have time, I would refresh and review chapters 1 through 6 to make sure that you're ready for the midterm, because once you start it, it's timed. You cannot exit out of the test. So if for some reason you have technical difficulties or you're trying to pause it, that will not work. And Wilmington has a pretty strict policy on, because this is an online class and taking online exams, to reach the highest integrity, we have to pretty much, take it for what it is. So if you for some reason mess things up, like that's probably the grade that you're going to get. So be very, very sensitive with your technology and be ready to go, have things open before you click start, because once you click start again, you're locked in to whatever, finishing however it finishes, no matter if you complete the exam or you don't. So that's not to scare you, that's just common sense, making sure that you're prepared. So again, before you start the exam, make sure you have all your notes, you're ready to go. With that being said, we do have an interesting situation with trying to get through the semester and trying to end on December 10th. But also, I want to acknowledge that there is a holiday season starting next week. We have Thanksgiving. I don't know how many people celebrate Thanksgiving, but usually it's a lot of folks that I talk to. So what I want to do is to try to be sensitive to that, to give you a little bit of time to be with family and friends and not to be stressed out, eating good food and whatnot. So I've kind of worked a new schedule that I want to propose to you, and hopefully it'll work out. Ultimately, you can stick with the old schedule, and that's completely fine. This adjustment is just to help people that want to have a little bit of a lighter load for next week, which is week 5. So here, I wrote this down, and hopefully you can follow with me. When I get a second, I'll actually type it out and write it in the announcement area, but this at least gives you an idea of where I'm coming from. So first of all, the first change, or the first extra that I'm going to give you, is for week 4 we have the midterm exam, and since I'm just discussing that with you now, I want to give you at least an extra day to complete it. So I will give you till the 20th, which is next Monday, I believe, at midnight to complete the midterm exam. So if you need an extra day to cram and study after turning in your other essays this week, feel free to use that, and make sure that you get your exam done by, again, midnight on the 20th, which is a Monday. So you get an extra day for that. Then starting in week 5, which is the week of Thanksgiving, we have our general discussion board that is due. So it'll be due on the same date that it's always due, on that Sunday at midnight, which is the 26th. Make sure you get that first initial post done by Wednesday, midnight. And then also the training plan that is supposed to be due that week is also due on the 26th by midnight. So those two easier assignments, or lighter assignments, let's say, are due next week, just like normal. Here's where the change occurs. I will allow you to submit your week 5 essay, which is a little bit weightier assignment. That will be due on the Sunday of week 6. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more freedom to have some family time next week. So that week 5 essay, again, will be due on December 3rd, that Sunday at midnight of week 6. Moving into week 6, everything stays as normal. All the minor assignments that are due, discussion boards, etc. However, just like in week 5, the essay that's due in week 6 is now bumped back to week 7. All right, so you have some extra time again to complete that essay, because you're probably going to be working on your essay week 5 and week 6, and now you can move your week 6 into week 7. So that'll be due on the Sunday midnight of week 7, which is, I believe, December 10th. Now when we get into week 7, I wouldn't suggest working on your essay, because you're supposed to be finishing your project. So this is, again, extra grace if you want to take it. So I would try to get that essay done earlier than week 7, so that you're not conflicted with having to work on your final project, which is worth a lot of points, and then doing this essay from week 6. However, I am giving you the ability to turn it in on week 7. With that said, I will give everyone a 1-day extension, just like I am with this midterm. So your final project needs to be due on Monday, the 11th at midnight. So the university's schedule ends on the 10th, but I'm going to give you an extra day again on the 11th at midnight for your final presentations and your final projects. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, when I get a second, I'll try to articulate that a little bit clearer through one of the announcements, or another way of just kind of outlining everything for you, so you have a better idea of what I just said. You can also rewind this and listen again, but I think I hit all the main points. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. But hopefully you appreciate that nice gesture of just letting you have, again, a little bit more time with family and friends to eat some good meals together. So in review, week 5, you will just have your discussion board due and your training plan due. And then everything else kind of gets bumped back a little bit, according to what I just communicated. Another thing I wanted to mention is that the last day to withdraw from this class is Thursday. Obviously, I will continue working on the grading, so you'll have a better idea of where you fall in this class. But most of you should know by now, either you've picked up on the writing style required in the research that's required for this class, or you haven't. I think we're kind of in 2 camps right now. We have a lot of students who are in the A and B category, and then a lot of students who are down in maybe the D and F category, based on if you've turned in your assignments or not, and how well you followed directions is probably the biggest thing. And I've been talking about that all semester. So kind of look at where you're at right now. If you feel like you're on the bubble and you're questioning if you should continue in the class, you can reach out to me and we can chat before you withdraw. You can also take the midterm if you just would rather get that grade out there and see where you're at. I will go back and revisit the Blackboard tonight and make sure that it's clearly stated where your grades are. I'm a little bit more lenient in my grade scheme. So for a lot of classes that are at Wilmington, something like a 90 would be a B+, but with my grading scale, a 90 is actually an A-, and a B- would be an 80, whereas in most classes an 80 would be a C+. So you'll see that change. Again, I'll go in and tweak it and make sure that those grade schemes are correct, and that you're able to see the actual grade percentages and not just the points, because you could take the points right now and divide them by how many points you've attempted, and you could get your grade. But I just want to make sure that that's all clear and situated so that you can make a reasonable determination of where you're at. I truly do believe, though, if you're at a 65 or higher, I believe you can do well in this class and move forward. If you're below that, it might be a little bit tricky to catch up if you need a C in the class. But again, reach out to me and we can chat. We'll see how things go this semester, if there's going to be any extra credit. I know I do offer extra credit for those who meet for those class meetings that we have. There's going to be one more of those, most likely in week 6, where we'll have an impromptu class meeting, discussion, lecture kind of deal. And I'll welcome all of you to join me, and that'll probably be at night, so hopefully more folks can join. You're doing really well. I really appreciated hearing about your projects. I've gone back and forth with a few of you to try to help you hone a little bit more of your craft of where you're trying to what you're trying to write about, and making sure that it's very much connected to the office of HR and not just a job training exercise or idea. So I think most of you hopefully have picked up on where I'm coming from there. Again, HR training can be connected to a lot of things, and if you could show it can be connected, then that's fine. But for a lot of you, you are giving me proposals of just really basic on-the-job training, which would be a little bit different than the HR topics that we're talking about. But I look forward to seeing their finished projects. If you're struggling with them, contact me and let's chat. We could even Skype or chat on the phone. I just need some advance notice. During the week of this week 6th, week 6, I will be away from my office here at work, and I'll be with my family on a trip. Obviously, I'll still be grading papers and responding, but I might not be able to respond as quickly as I would otherwise. So just be aware of that. It's going to be, we're leaving around the Thanksgiving time and going to be gone for about a week. So if you need something before then, just make sure that you put it on my radar so that I can be attentive to your needs. I think that's about it. Again, have a wonderful, holiday season next week. I can't believe that in a few weeks we'll be done already. It seems like the class just got started. I will continue working on grading your papers. I'm trying to be thorough with them and give you good feedback, making sure that I'm connecting it back to the rubric, and also making sure that, again, I read every little section, and your papers so far have been pretty good so far. So keep up the good work on the corrections that I'm giving you, and I feel like everyone in this class is going to hopefully learn something, but they also do well in terms of their grades. So again, have a blessed rest of your week, and enjoy your lighter week next week. All right, take care.